Hi, it's Sandy Parker and welcome to Crafting for Almost Everyone. Today I'm going to do a collaboration with Rebecca Walton from pegstamps.com. We're going to be using some of her stamps and we're both going to be doing a really cool, I guess we'll call it a slide card, although that's not really what it is. But I hope you'll stay tuned. So the first thing I did was I went on the internet and I found this pot of gold. It was just a free image, and I'll put the link below of how to get this image so that you have it if you want it. And I just printed it out on my printer, which is easy enough to do. Then I took Distress Oxides in tumbled glass and I kind of went across on another piece of scrap, and then gently, so you don't get lines like starting and stopping lines, I just kind of went around my pot of gold, and you can see right here I didn't do gently. That's why I have that darker mark, so I have to figure out a way to kind of clean that up if I can by adding a little bit more darker ink around the edges of it. And then I have to put a little bit more at the top because I don't have enough up in here either. I just want to make sure that we have enough color where we need it. I used black ink and clear embossing powder and then heat set my sentiment that says you'll find a pot of gold at the end of the rainbow. And it'll make it so that I can wipe it and get the weird residue off, and then it'll be shiny and black again. But I'm not going to do that till I'm done with this little project right here. I don't want you to have to watch me do the whole page because it does take a little bit of time to do this. Okay, that's good enough, I think. I just want to get that little edge. I'm going to be using my alcohol markers to color the pot of gold and the rainbow. And before I do that, I want to show you, you just take one of your rags, and I just use baby bibs. If you don't know my story, I buy baby bibs at garage sales and at Salvation Army, wherever I can find them inexpensively. And then I just attach them to the arm of my chair, and then anytime I need any kind of a rag, or in place of baby wipes, I use these. And then I'm just wiping that off to make sure that we get that sentiment nice and shiny again. And I wanted this to look kind of splotchy because I wanted it to look like the sky behind it. So in case you were worried that I was kind of losing my mind there, I'm going to use Arteza Everblend markers. And in the pot, I'm going to use a black. I'm using these three, and they are A 5000. 5000 is the 155 and 159. So that's koala gray, charcoal gray, and black. When you're trying to make something look rounded, the middle section right in here needs to be like a lighter color. Before I go any further, I want to tell you, my pot of gold sentiment came from, this is an old stamp set from Creative Times called Leprechauns. And it's a really nice one. I love the font on it. And then inside, it's going to say Happy St. Patrick's Day. That's going to be the inside of our card. And our card is going to be a 5x7 card. And it's going to be really layered up. Let me color this first. I'm going to use the bigger nib so that I can get this done in a shorter amount of time than a couple million years. Not much of an exaggeration, huh? I just want to make sure that the outer edges of this, I'm not good with this big nib. I know everybody else can color with that big nib, but I can't. I'm just not coordinated enough to do it somehow. Instead, I use the littler one, and I just kind of do smaller strokes, and that way I can control what I'm putting down. And then once I get a little bit away from the edge, I can use that bigger nib. But right now I'm not using it because, you know, if I do, we'll have black all over the sides of this. I'm going to go that far in with my black. So now I can use the bigger nib because now I can just go like that. And then turn it around and do that side. So the big nib does work, but for me, it only really works when I'm not at the edges. If I'm near the edge, you can forget it. I'm going to go all over the place with it. This is the charcoal gray, and I'm going to go over the black again. I want to make sure that my edges are blended well, you know, like the right here between the gray and the black. And if it doesn't blend well, go a different direction and go further into the black. And then I'm going to do the same thing on this side. Want my pot of gold to be a little more on that side. Okay. Then I'm going to take my, this is the lighter one, it's koala gray. And I can use the big nib, hopefully. It's not as light as I want it to be. Let me see if I can find a lighter one. I'm going to go with fog gray. This should be, that's too light. And we'll lay down some fog gray that's super light, and then we'll go into the next one that is, wish I could read it, cloudy gray. And then we'll probably have to do some of the koala gray to get it to all blend out on the edges. It's koala gray. So I think with the koala, I'm just going to do that. Okay, then we're going to do our rainbow, and I'm going to do that in rainbow order, which would be red, that was 403, and this is 302. And then yellow is 937. And the green is 556. Thought it was a 4, but it's a 6. I'm trying to use as much primary colors as I can. And this is 8272 denim blue. Then I'm going to use violet, and then I'm going to use a dark purple. There's that. Let me get tomato red, see how that works. just going to go into that middle with this. And this one is 414. Then in the orange, I think I'm going to go pumpkin orange. I think I'm going to go with bumblebee yellow. I'm going to go hunter green. A little bit darker. Or a lot darker. Then we need to go into the purples. Maybe light navy blue. See if that, maybe if we can go in that darker side, I guess. I didn't think it was as dark as the blue I used before, but it seems like it's darker. How lucky. I guess I'll have to go lighter on the purple. Go with lilac. And that's a better color. That is orchid purple. And there you have it. And then that other color is, I don't know, wisteria. Let's see if that works. So what I did is I printed out 3 of these, or 2, I don't know, 3, I think, of these. And what I did was I cut out parts of the coins so that I can layer them. So what I'll do is I'll put foam behind this piece so it's raised, and I'll make it so it's raised more at the top than at the bottom. Then the next level is the bottom, and I'll put a little bit of fun foam under it. And then this is the top section, and I'll put fun foam under that. And I already colored that with a gel pen. And so all I'm doing, you want to be careful on your top layers. The bottom layer doesn't matter because you're really going to be hiding that whole layer. But in case it falls apart, you don't want it to be uncolored, you know, when they get it in the mail. This is going to our great niece who is in college, and I like to send just a little note so they know we're thinking about them. Okay. So that is that, and we're going to let them dry. Next up, I want to show you how this card comes together. It's going to be a card where it moves a lot. Oh wait, I need to do some other stamping on this. I'm going to use the little stamp. It's a little clover, 4-leaf clover, and I'm just going to stamp it here and there with Gina K's ink in Christmas Pine. I'm going to turn it so that we have what looks like falling 4-leaf clovers. Okay. Lots and lots of clovers. And then next after that, I think I already told you that I put a stamp on the inside of the card that's now MIA because that's not the card base. There we go. Here's my card base. It just says Happy St. Patrick's Day, so I'm going to put a couple of those little 4-leaf clovers in there too. That's enough. Okay, so that's my 4-leaf clovers. Then, okay, the way you make this card, it's all about a movement. It's a card that has, that doesn't, it's just not your basic card. It has components to it that move, and so that makes it really interesting and fun for me. As you know, I'm easily bored. So we might as well glue these down first. I want to make sure we get our background glued in place. And I'm going to use these little fun foam pieces that are kind of thick for the first layer. And then after that, I'm going to go thinner and thinner. So our first layer is this one. No, I don't want to go this thick, I don't think. I knew I had thinner ones. It was just a matter of finding them. Okay, so these ones are a little bit thinner. And what I'm going to do with them is I'm going to put them on the very top. I'm not putting any on the bottom section because I want the bottom section to be glued down. And I'm going to use a wet glue, I think, to glue that in place. And again, only putting these on the top. We want our bottom section to be not so dimensional. Okay, so I'm going to take off the backing so you can see that. See how it's just the top. Then you're going to take glue, a wet glue, and my favorite glue is the Tombow Mono Aqua. It just seems to me, it just works better for me, and it has a thin spout, but it's not so thin that I can't squeeze anything out. And you know, that's frustrating when you get those really, those tiny pore things and you can't squeeze anything out. It makes me nuts. So I'm just saying, that's why I'm not into that so much. So then we're going to put this down exactly over where the first round is. And we want them to be, I want to hold it down so I can get that bottom section to stay glued down. Then, I think I'm only going to use these. This is for this top section. And I think what I'm going to do is pick this top section up and see if I can glue these behind it. So I have what appears to be more. Okay, that looks pretty good. Can you see? I mean, you can see these, but I think we could also do another layer, and then you can see, hopefully you can see that there's even more dimension there. It's looking pretty good. I'm pretty happy with it. Okay, next up, here's what I'm going to do next. So this is one of our layers, and then I'm going to glue it to this like that, so that we have a little bit of, you know, so it's a little bit fun. And then after I do that, what we're going to do is we're going to create a moving component underneath this layer. And it's real simple. It just requires magnets and something that you're going to glue to your project. And in my case, it's going to be a coin, obviously a gold coin. I saw this card on Mixed Up Crafts. I think her name is Sam. She does amazing cards and 3D projects. I've never seen anyone with as many great ideas as Sam has. And if you've never looked at her site, you should. It's just amazing the way that she comes up with all kinds of fun and unusual cards and projects. And I saw this one, and I contacted my friend Rebecca at pegstamps.com, and I said, hey, Rebecca, do you want to do something for St. Patrick's Day? And she said, sure, what do you have in mind? And I sent her the card, the video of the card that Sam did on Mixed Up Crafts, and she said, wow, that is so much fun. And I said, I know, I've got so many ideas in my head about how we could make that. And so we agreed that we would do a collaboration. I'm not sure what people think collaborations mean, but all it means is you have two different YouTube channels that are making similar cards. That's all. And in our case, we're using peg stamps because that's what Rebecca's company does, and we're also making sure that we're using the same card format, which is the project that is from Mixed Up Crafts. I'm going to cut this down just a little bit. I know that looks really wonky right now, but that was kind of part of my idea. Hopefully it's not going to screw things up, but you never know. Here's how this card works. What we're going to do, it's a card that is raised. So the first thing you need to do is you need to get your foam tape, you know, the dreaded foam tape, and we're going to put the foam tape on under this layer, and you're going to do 2 layers of foam tape, and we're only going to put the foam tape, let me rip off the topping of this so I can make 2 layers. You need to have 2 layers because you're going to have moving parts underneath. You're going to make it two layers thick with foam tape. If I'm out of camera, I promise I'll be back in a second. I'm going to be moving, my things are going to be moving from this side. So you can't have any foam in this portion. Okay? So remember that. No foam in this portion. So when I flip it over, we don't want anything right here in foam. So I'm going to put foam on the bottom. Woo! And all the way up that side. And then I'm going to put a second layer on both of these. I'll have Rich fast forward through this part. Okay. Then we're going to have some foam about that far up because we'll be able to play then in that area. But we don't want to put any fun foam inside there, where I explained before when I flipped it over. Then you want to put some foam in here so that you have, so that your card doesn't basically implode in this section because there's not enough, there's nothing to hold the card together in this section. So we want to make sure we have enough foam over here. You're going to take 2 pieces of cardstock that are 3/4 of an inch wide by 4 3/4 inches long, and you're going to glue them together so that they are nice and sturdy. The point of this, the doubling them, is just to make sure they're really sturdy. So I'm going to just take some tear tape and adhere them together so that we have, you could use wet glue for this. I just find if I'm going to glue something together that I want to really be sturdy, I use tear tape. It's my go-to for anything that's really important to keep in. I'm going to put some wet glue on this because if you are going to glue these together and you accidentally lay them down on each other a little bit off kilter and you don't have wet glue on it, you won't be able to get them apart. But if you have wet glue on them, it'll give you the ability to move them around a little bit and fix your little mistake you had when you glued them together wrong. Now mine might be, I'm not sure, but they might be a little bit too long. That's okay, because we can always trim it off. If it's too short, where you're going to have a problem. And here's what I'm going to do with them. I have these little, well, they're buttons, but I'm calling them gold coins because I didn't have anything closer to what we would consider a gold coin. I'm going to try and use a distress crayon and see if I can make them a little bit more gold. I don't know if this will work or not. Cross your fingers. I'm only going to do one, so in case I really screw it up, you know, in case I did screw it up, that I'd be able to fix it. I just wanted to make sure that if I could make them a little bit more gold, I would give it a shot. Okay, there's the one I did. And there's the one that I didn't do. And I think it looks better with the distress. So we're going to go for it. So I have two of these. I don't know if I'm going to use both of them, but I wanted to try both of them and see if one of them looked better than the other or whatever. Anyway, so we needed those. And then I have these magnets. And they're very thin, but they're very, very sturdy. I mean, they're really hard to get apart. You'll need two of them. And then I will use a glue dot. You're going to roll your glue dot up. Wait, I want to make sure. Okay, this is how they go. It's always important to know how they, how they attach together. So they go like this. So I'm going to put it, hold on, I get confused. As soon as I let go of it, I forget what's the right side. I might as well just do it like that. Okay. And then you're going to want to put the glue dot on one of them. See that? The glue dot's there. Then you're going to take your little movable piece, and you're going to put this toward the end of it. I need to move it closer to the end. Okay. I have it at the end. Then you're going to take another glue dot and put that, well, not as close as I could get it to be. And you're going to put it on your coin. Okay, so my coin is in place. Here's what we're going to do next. We're going to lay our card base on top of our card. And it goes about like that. What you want to do next is you want to put a direction on this, because this little thing is going to slide around in here, and so you need to have a word that says something like, in my case, I have this set from May called Actions, Sentiments, and wouldn't you know, I lost the one that says pull, but slide I do have. So I'm going to put the word slide. I'm going to stamp it right there. There's that word. And Gina K's black amalgam ink. Okay, and we want it to be on the same side as this is, because that's going to be facing up, and you want it to be right. Let's hope this works. Slide. Good. At this point, we have everything done, except we just need to put our mechanism in place, and all it takes for that is you just put this in, and then you you have your other, you put your magnet on your coin, and you lay your coin down, and then this will slide your coin wherever you want it to go. So if you want your coin to go into your bucket, your pot, it will. And then you can move it all the way over there. So when the slide is all the way in as far as it can go, it goes right there. And then if you want it to be straight up and down, you just do that. And then when you want to pull it and put it anywhere else, you can just move it down there and it can go into your pot of gold. And then what I'm going to do with my other one, I'm going to move it up a little bit and put it up like that. What I'm going to do with my other coin, I figured I might as well use it since I put all the work into it, right? Oop. I put a glue dot on the back of it, and I thought I would put it on the front of my pot of gold, even though it's supposed to be, you know, I thought it'd be cool as a decoration for my pot of gold. So that is how you make this slide card. You can just move it wherever you want. I think you'd be better at it if you were stronger, but I'm not that strong, so, you know, obviously I don't have the kind of skill set to move it. But then in the inside, it says Happy St. Patrick's Day, and then all I need to do is put my stamp on the back. And we're all set. I hope that you go over to Rebecca's channel and check out her card. I'm sure it's lots of fun. It's going to be one of these kind of slide cards like this one. It's, you know, her idea and mine, completely different. So it's kind of fun to just see what everybody comes up with. And I hope that you enjoyed this, that you'll give it a thumbs up and subscribe. And please tell your friends about me on social media because you know I love that. And thanks so much for watching. Bye-bye.